Hi, it's Leela, the proud poly Kinky queer slut. Today's question is, do I really have to take this shit? So this is a question that I ask myself whenever I'm confronted by a situation that in years past, in times past, I would have been like, I'll quietly sit here and just listen and roll my eyes and in my mind be thinking, when can I get out of this? How can I escape the situation? Well, now I try to practice asking myself, do I really need to take this shit? Is this something I really need to continue to endure? And there are options if you are asking yourself that question. So you can stand up and leave. You can just walk out, deny your presence to the situation. You can stand up and confront. You can say, you know what, I disagree with what you're saying. I do not respect what you're talking about, and I'm going to leave. Or just, say, I object to this, I'm leaving. There are so many things that you can do, and I think it's challenging because in that moment when something uncomfortable is happening, we just kind of freeze up and we just kind of sit there because that's like the natural response, and certainly it's a conditioned response I've got. But with practice, you stop doing it, and or at least have that moment afterwards of saying, oh, maybe next time I'll do this. So here is an example. Something fun, or well, it wasn't fun. It was exciting and it was scary. But I was in a university campus at night, and it was during some protests, and there were people spray painting graffiti all over the buildings. And I have no objection to legitimate protests. I very much appreciate it, but I do have objections to the wanton destruction of private property for no good reason, especially when people are not, taking actions that could actually change the cost. So I walked by somebody quietly tagging a building with, just profanity because they could. And I asked myself, like, do I just need to let them do that? And I said, no, I don't. So I walked right up to this young person and I said, excuse me, what do you think you're doing? This is not an effective way to protest. This creates no change. How about you go to stop making life hard for the janitor, for the working person that's just going to have to clean this up, and instead call a senator or go do something that's actually going to affect change. Put yourself on camera in a way that's going to make a difference. Do something. So I accosted him and I basically lectured him as though I were a mom on how what he was doing was ineffective and disrespectful to that poor janitor. And he apologized and said, no, you're totally right. I'm so sorry. And he went to go do it. Now, the friend I was with was terrified. They were like, oh no, this person's going to hurt you, just really scared. But you know what? Nobody hurt me. I was just fine because you know what? The world's a lot less scary than we think it is. And most of the time, if you stand up and you hold your ground, other people will make space for it, or at least hear you. And if it does escalate, then certainly you still always have the option to walk away. But just food for thought. Like when you get the spoons for it, it feels good to speak up. It feels good to hold your space and tell people that their opinion's not your opinion, and you don't go along with what they think just because you're there. So anyway, thanks for listening. This is Leela, the proud poly Kinky queer slut. Have a great day.